Jai Janendra. Welcome to today's class. As usual, we'll start with the prayers. Namo Orientanam, Namo Suttanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vatsayanam, Namo Loe Sabba Sahunam. Eso Panchanamukkaro Sabba Pavapanasano Mangalanancha Sabbe Simpadvam Havai Mangalam. Namo Orientanam, Namo Sittanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vatsayanam, Namo Loe Sabba Sahunam. Eso Panchanamukkaro Sabba Pavapanasano Mangalanancha Sabbe Simpadvam Havai Mangalam. Namo Orientanam, Namo Sittanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vatsayanam, Namo Loe Sabba Sahunam. Eso Panchanamukkaro Sabba Pavapanasano Mangalanancha Sabbe Simpadvam Havai Mangalam. Veera Sarasura Surendra Mahetu Virambudha Sansrita Viranaabhiyata Swakarmani Chaya Viraya Nityam Namah. Veera Tirtham Vidam Prautamattalam Veera Shubhoram Tapo Veera Sri Dhruti Kirtikanti Nichaya Sri Veerabhadram Visa Kamathe Dharanendra Cha Sojitam Karma Kurvati Prabhusthalya Manovrutti Parshvanath Sri Estuvaha Anguthe Amrutavase Laptitana Bandar Shri Guru Gautam Samari Manavanchita Padadata. Welcome everybody. As you've just seen the message, this will be the last class before Paryushan. After today, we'll probably still have about 2-3 weeks to complete the narration of Bhagwan Parshvanath's life. And I think we should be finished by early September, hopefully, middle of September. We'll be in touch, and I'll try and finish it in 2 weeks if we can. Today we'll move on with our story of Bhagwan Parshvanath from where we left off last week. I'll just share my slides so that as a recap. Just as a reminder, the previous lives of Bhagwan Parshvanath and Kamat and what we have been looking at over the last few months. We met Kamat, we've seen what his details at birth and his childhood was like and how he becomes a tapas. And as he progresses and comes to the city where Bhagwan Parshvanath was, Varanasi, we understood how the two meet again. With Bhagwan Parshvanath's life, we learned about his birth and then his youth and the time that he gets married to Princess Prabhavati and the circumstances around that particular event. So we saw that in detail. And last week we came to this incident where Bhagwan Parshvanath once sitting in his palace balcony observing the goings on around in the streets below, and they notice that there are lots of people going out with all kinds of things for worship um, outside the town, and he sends somebody to find out what is going on, and is informed that there is a tapas called Kamat who is performing severe penance called Panchangani Tap, which means fires on four sides and a hot sun in the middle uh, on the top of his head. And he is very renowned because of his tap, and they're all going there to see him and worship him. And Bhagavan Parshvanath also, with his men and Princess Prabhavati, moved towards where Kamat is performing his Panchangani Tap. And on seeing what's going on, Bhagavan Parshvanath's eyes fall on the fire, and with his Audignan, he sees that there is a snake, or according to some versions, a couple of snakes trapped in a log that is already burning. And he feels obviously very upset that snakes are burning, and he points this out to Kamat and says that any tap which does not follow the principles of non-violence, ahimsa, does not really give any benefit. In fact, that this is wrong, this is not the way to perform dharma. Kamat, on the other hand, is not willing to listen to Bhagavan Parshvanath and insults him and says, "You're just a prince, you don't really know what you're talking about. Leave all this kind of talk about dharma to people like us." Bhagavan Parshvanath cannot carry on seeing this snakes burning. Hence, he orders one of his men to remove that particular log where he, with his divine knowledge of Audignan, can actually see the snakes, whereas nobody else can. His men remove that particular log from the fire, douse the fire, and Bhagavan Parshvanath asks them to gently split open that log. And as soon as they do that, the snake or snakes come out. They have already been subjected to very intense heat, and they are very near the end of their lives because of the burns that they have sustained. Bhagavan Parshvanath feels very sad about this, and in his compassion, in a very compassionate and a kind voice, he lets one of his men, according to this version. In other versions, you will also hear that he himself recites Naukar Mahamantra and calmly explains to the snakes what to remain calm, and to, now that they are nearing the end of their life, to give up all worldly attachments and to free themselves from any worldly connections, and to concentrate on their true self, that is the soul. And the snakes uh, listen to Naukar mantra and get very focused within themselves in the soul, and hence acquire a lot of punya karma, and at the end of their life as snakes, they are born according to Trisasya Shalaka Purushratra, where there is only one snake, is born as King Dharnendra of the Naglok Devlok. That's one of the Bhavanpati Devloks. According to some other versions, the other female serpent, female snake, is born as Padmavati Devi, and hence their lives ascend to a different level because of their association or their connection with Bhagavan Parshvanath. Obviously, as Dharnendra and Padmavati, being Dev and Devi, as soon as they are born, they would remember their past life, and they would have Avdignan, which allows them to see what is going on around them. Their lives carry on. Meanwhile, Kamat, having been exposed as somebody who is not practicing true dharma and is uh, unknowingly engaging in violent acts, the public immediately begins to criticize him and lose all faith with him and then disperse. So hence Kamat has lost his prestige, he lost his following, and he uh, further strengthens his hatred for Bhagwan Parshvanath, though he doesn't know who he is, he doesn't remember their connection in previous lives, but he just builds up more dislike and hatred towards somebody who has been the cause of him losing face. And he continues to practice more severe penance without letting go of his kashais, that means his anger, his pride, uh, and his general lack of understanding of the true nature of the soul. And as a result of this ignorant tap, he is born as Meghmali after his death in his next life. Now he is not, the hope that he has got is not of a very sort of a significant or a major nature, though he has all the trappings of the life as a Devlok and the absence of any sort of significant suffering and not having a need to actually earn his living. He is, however, still not in a very high place. Now, Bhagwan Parshvanath, meanwhile, his life carries on and his Bhogavali karma is finished. And when the time has arrived for him to take Diksha, as is the normal custom in universal terms, that every Tirthankar is approached by the 9 Lokantik Devs. These are the Devs from all the different directions who are existing at the end of the towards the end of Chaudrajulok. So they are called Lokantik Lokna Antvara Devo. And it is their duty to approach Tirthankar Paramatmas about a year before the time has come for them to set up, establish a new Tirth, and they would come to him requesting or with bowed hands and just remind Tirthankar Paramatma, not that Tirthankar Paramatma needs reminding, but this is their custom, so they would come down and ask him to establish a Tirth. The words that are used are called Prabhu Ave Tirth Pravartavo. Tirth means a path. Tirth means a holy path towards moksha. Requested him to take Diksha. So the establishment of the path, so Tirth Pravartavo Amate, he has to take Diksha for the benefit of the people to attain moksha and help other people attain it. Now, Bhagwan Parshvanath obviously already knows, but once the Lokantik Devs go, as is also the custom of all Tirthankars, they give us a live demonstration of how one should begin to detach oneself from all worldly trappings. So for a year before the day of the Diksha, every Tirthankar Paramatma spends the whole day giving away a huge amount of wealth to anybody who comes in to the palace, the Devs, Kuber, that is uh, the chief Dev who holds the uh, treasure of Devlok, is called Kuber, and all his uh, Sevak Devs bring in all kinds of very expensive, very valuable gold jewels from all over, wherever they have lain unclaimed for sometimes probably centuries, sometimes even much longer than that. They would dig out all those things and get wealth that does not belong to anybody and bring it to Bhagwan, who then distributes it to everybody who comes in from morning till the evening. This is a scene of Bhagwan giving wealth to everybody who comes in, and this goes on for a whole year. And when we did the life story of Bhagwan Mahavir, we heard about how Bhagwan Mahavir also did Varshidan, and how one particular Brahmin missed out on it, and how he then pursues Bhagwan Mahavir after his Diksha to seek something from him. And Bhagwan Mahavir gives him half his Devdushya, that is a very special, extremely valuable piece of cloth that was given to him by Indra at the time of Diksha. So this is a scene of the Varshidan. It's called Varshidan because it lasts for a year. And Varsha also means rainfall. Varsha also means that there's a fall of wealth like rain. At the time of Diksha, before that, the description of the wealth that's collected, તે વખતે તેમના ભાવને જાણતા હોય તેમ લોકાંતિક દેવતાઓએ આવીને પાર્શ્વનાથને વિજ્ઞપ્તિ કરી કે હે નાથ તીર્થને પ્રવર્તાવો. Now, Bhagavan Parshvanath himself saw that his karma that he needed to spend up for worldly pleasures, that has finished. Parshvanath Prabhuએ પોતાના ભોગ ફળ વાળા કર્મને ભોગવાઈ ગયેલ જાણીને દીક્ષા લેવામાં મન જોડ્યું. He starts preparing himself, and as per custom, the Lokantik Devs come. હે નાથ તીર્થને પ્રવર્તાવો, એ સાંભળી પ્રભુએ કુબેરની આજ્ઞાથી. Kuber is the treasurer of the Devs. જુંબક દેવતાઓએ પુરેલા દ્રવ્ય વડે. So Devs, Jumbak Devs will go around and get all the wealth that as described. વાર્ષિક દાન આપવા માંડ્યું. પછી શક્રાદિક ઇન્દ્રોએ અને એસોસિએશન પ્રમુખ રાજાઓએ પરમ પ્રભુ શ્રી પાર્શ્વનાથને દીક્ષાભિષેક કર્યો. તો દીક્ષા માટે અભિષેક કરે અને પછી આશ્રમપદ નામના ઉદ્યાન સમીપે આવ્યા. પછી દેવ અને માનવોએ વહન કરવા યોગ્ય જેવી વિશાળા નામની સિબિકામાં. So the Indra creates a special sibika, or a kind of a vehicle that people carry on their shoulders. It's a special kind of, or is pulled. There are pictures of an imagined version of this based on the descriptions as is given in the text. We don't have it here, but we can find it in other texts. So this particular Sibika was called Vishala Namni Sibikamati. Isine Ashram Pad Namna Udyan Samipe Avya. So he goes to a place which is called, it's a large sort of garden, Udyan, or forest. મારવાના ઘાટા વૃક્ષોથી જેની ભૂમિ શ્યામ થઈ ગઈ હતી. It's a thick forest. જે ડોલરની કડીઓથી જાણે કામદેવની પ્રશંસા પાત્રને ધારણ કરતું હોય તેવું દેખાતું હતું. It is full of very beautiful trees with very richly scented flowers. જેમાં મુચકુંદ અને નિકુંભના વૃક્ષોના ભ્રમરાએ ચુંબન કરતા હતા. So it's a very beautiful forest with very many flower-bearing trees. આકાશમાં ઉડતા ચારોડી વૃક્ષના પરાગથી જે સુગંધમય થઈ ગયું હતું અને જેમાં ઇક્ષુદંડના ક્ષેત્રોમાં બેસી ઉદ્યાન પાલિકાઓ ઉચ્ચ સ્વરે ગાતી હતી. So these are managed forests and all the people were looking after them, singing, and that is the description that is being given here. એવા ઉદ્યાનમાં અશ્વસેનના કુમાર શ્રી પાર્શ્વકુમારે પ્રવેશ કર્યો પછી 30 વર્ષની વયવાળા. Now, Bhagavan Parshvanath was 30 years old when he took Diksha. પ્રભુએ સિબિકા ઉપરથી ઉતરીને આભૂષણાદિ સર્વ ત્યજી દીધું. And as is the custom, Bhagavan Parshvanath at the age of 30 got off this particular Sibika and started removing all his adornments, all the jewels that he was wearing. સિબિકા ઉપરથી ઉતરીને આભૂષણાદિ સર્વ ત્યજી દીધું અને ઇન્દ્રે આપેલું એક દેવદુષ્ય વસ્ત્ર ધારણ કર્યું. And Indra, as part of his custom, will give every Tirthankar a special piece of cloth called Devdushya, which is an extremely valuable piece of cloth. And Bhagwan Parshvanath puts that on his shoulder. Posh Masni Krishna Ekadasiye. So this particular event happened in the month of Posh, on the 11th day, on the waning cycle of the moon. Krishna Ekadasiye Chandra Anuradha Nakshatrama. And it's always described what particular nakshatra, because these are extremely rare and very, very auspicious events. All the 5 Kalyanaks of every Tirthankar Paramatma is extremely auspicious, and celestially, astrologically, those particular astrological arrangements that occur at that time are unique. અનુરાધા નક્ષત્રમાં આવતા શ્રી પાર્શ્વનાથ પ્રભુએ અષ્ટમ તપ કરીને 300 રાજાઓની સાથે દીક્ષા લીધી. So he took Diksha along with 300 other kings. Ashtam tap, meaning that he would have been fasting for 3 days. તત્કાળ પ્રભુને મન પરે જ્ઞાન ઉત્પન્ન થયું. This is something that is also standard, that every Tirthankar Paramatma on the day of their Diksha develops the 4th type of knowledge, 4th Gnan, called Man Parya Gnan. Does everybody know what Man Parya Gnan is, what it allows you to do?
Is it something where he can know what the other person is thinking?
Yes. But it's not just limited to a person.
I mean, yeah, any living thing, any.
Well, any Sangni Panchendriya Jeev. So Sangni means somebody who has what we call Dravyaman, meaning the capacity to process Manovargana, process the particular kind of material that forms our uh, thoughts, or that, and it's only possible for uh, beings who have a mind. So that is all uh, Sangni Manushya. So there are types of Manushya who are asangani, who have five senses but not the mind. Similarly, Sangani Panchendriya, animals who have a mind. So dogs, cats, wild animals, all with five senses, including five-sensed birds, sea animals, and land animals, and all devs and narak. I'm not sure what is the extent of this Manparayognan, whether it allows the person to read the minds of anybody at whatever distance, or if it is limited to a certain radius. For Audignan, it is limited to a certain radius, which varies between person to person. I presume the Audignan of Tirthankar Paramatma is very wide, and it extends to the maximum distance that Audignan can extend to. But this Manparayognan always develops for all Tirthankars on the day of their Diksha. Just one question. What is Bhagwan trying to teach us when he demonstrates to the world that he is giving away wealth? And there is a lot written about this, Varshidan, about the process itself, but also about the holiness of what is given and the benefit of it to whoever receives it, and how it changes their lives. But almost, and people come from far and wide. As soon as the process starts, people learn about it, and because it goes on for the whole year, people would be traveling from quite far away to come and benefit from this Varshidan. What is Bhagwan trying to teach us? Anybody? You all know the answer. Just asking you to uh, put it in words. Okay, we'll come to that after we finish this. Now, Bhagwan Parshvanath has taken Diksha. एक ज्ञान सर्व तीर्थंकरों ने दीक्षा महोत्सव वक्त उत्पन्न થાય છે. On the day after Diksha, in the village called Kostak, at the house of one particular Gruhast or a Shravak by the name of Tanya, Bhagwan breaks his 3-day fast with Paisanathi Parno Karyu. So he breaks his fast having obtained Paisan. I presume, I'm not 100% sure, that it means kheer. the word that is used is payasamnathi kvarnu kariyu. So he breaks his fast on the next day in the village of Kostak at the place, at the house of a man called Danya. And every time a Tirthankar Paramatma breaks his fast for the first time, and maybe I think every time subsequently, the Devs ત્યાં વસુધરાદિ પંચદિવ્ય પ્રગટ કર્યા. So they shower auspicious things at that point. They shower what's called પંચદિવ્ય. અને ધન્યે પ્રભુના પગલાની ભૂમિ પર એક પાદપીઠ કરાવી. So ધન્ય શ્રાવક subsequently produced a sort of a sculpture of his feet at the place where Bhagwan Parshvanath had stood. પછી વાયુની જેમ પ્રતિબંધ રહિત એવા પ્રભુએ યુગ માત્ર દ્રષ્ટિ કરતા. A yug is about 4 hath. So a Tirthankar Paramatma, like a Muni Bhagwan, would be walking without enough attention to the surrounding, but constantly lost in meditation, but also being aware that as they are walking, that they are not causing any harm, but the inner vision is within oneself. યુગ માત્ર દ્રષ્ટિ કરતા અનેક ગ્રામ, આકર અને નગર વગેરેમાં છદ્મસ્તપણે વિહાર કરવા लाग्યા. એક વખતે વિહાર કરતા પ્રભુ કોઈ નગરની પાસે આવેલા તાપસના આશ્રમ સમીપે આવ્યા. ત્યાં સૂર્ય અસ્ત થઈ ગયો હતો. So the story moves on that once Bhagwan Parshvanath comes outside a city near a particular ashram or a place where tapasis live and meditate. તાપસના આશ્રમ સમીપે આવ્યા. ત્યાં સૂર્ય અસ્ત થઈ ગયો. So the sun set when he arrives there. રાત્રિ થવાથી, because it was night, એક કુવાની પાસે વડવૃક્ષ નીચે જગતગુરુ તેની શાખાની જેમ નિષ્કંપપણે કાયોત્સર્ગ મુદ્રાએ સ્થિત થયા. So Bhagwan Parshvanath stops walking because the sun has set, and near a particular well, underneath a vadvruksh in a large tree, a word, I don't know what the English name for a word is, but I presume all of you know what a word is. It is a very wide-spreading tree which throws branches which move down into the ground vertically. વડવૃક્ષ નીચે જગતગુરુ તેની શાખાની જેમ નિષ્કંપણે કાયોત્સર્ગ મુદ્રાએ સ્થિત થયા. So Bhagwan stays in Kayotsarg in that area. Now, at that time, Meghmali, who was the soul who was in his previous life Kamat the Tapas, and after his death is born as a Dev called Meghmali. He's a Megh Kumar Dev. He, with the help of his Avdignan, and he remembers his previous life, and he remembers all his previous lives, and remembers the hatred that he had strengthened during those lives. પાર્શ્વનાથના જીવ સાથે પ્રત્યેક ભાવમાં પોતાનું વેર સંભાળીને વડવા નળની સાગરની જેમ તે અંતરમાં અત્યંત ક્રોધ વડે પ્રજ્વલિત થયો. So remembering all the past lives and how he was how he had hated Bhagwan Parshvanath, he remembers all that, and the hatred actually rekindles. and he becomes extremely angry. પર્વતને ભેદવાને હાથી આવે તેમ તે અધ્યમ દેવ અધર્મ કરીને અમર્ષ કરીને પાર્શ્વનાથને ઉપદ્રવ કરવા આવ્યો. અમર્ષ કરીને પાર્શ્વનાથને ઉપદ્રવ કરવા આવ્યો. પ્રથમ તેણે દાઢું રૂપ કરવતથી ભયંકર મુખવાળા વજ્જા જેવા નખાંકુરને ધારણ કરનાર અને પિંગલ નેત્રવાળા કેસરી સિંહ વિકુર્યા. તેઓ પૂંછડા વડે ભૂમિ પીઠ પર વારંવાર પ્રહાર કરવા લાગ્યા. Here there is a description of the different kinds of upsarga that he starts off with as soon as he learns with his Avdignan, where Bhagwan Parshvanath is standing in Kausak Dhyan under that large tree near a well, and he starts unfolding his hatred with various different acts of aggression. And with the power as a Dev, he creates what is described here is Pingal Netravada, Vajra Jeva Nakhankurne, so lions with very sharp claws, with aggressive, very terrifying yellow eyes. He makes this vikurvya, meaning they have the ability to actually generate this kind of images which appear very real. કેસરી સિંહ વિકુર્યા તેઓ પૂંછડા વડે ભૂમિ પીઠ પર વારંવાર પ્રહાર કરવા लाग्યા અને મૃત્યુના મંત્રાક્ષર જેવા ધૃતકાર શબ્દ કરવા लाग्યા. તથાપિ ધ્યાનમાં નિશ્ચળ લોચન કરીને રહેલા પ્રભુ તેનાથી જરા પણ શોક પામ્યા નહીં. So he creates scenes which are extremely frightening and meant to terrify anybody who comes to this, and he carries on. There is a brief description in this narrative that I've obtained from the internet on Dada Bhagwan website. Firstly, to scare the Lord, he sent huge elephants, wolves, and tigers. However, the Lord was completely still in his meditation of the soul. Nothing touched him. Then Meghmali threw heavy stones at the Lord and showered torrential rains upon him. The rains were so heavy that the water rose up to Parshvanath's ankles, knees, and in just few moments it reached the tip of his nose. However, he was unperturbed. He continued with his meditation. In Gujarati, Hemchandracharya describes this like this. પછી તેણે ગર્જના કરતા અને મદને વરસતા જંગમ પર્વત જેવા મોટા હાથીઓ વિકુર્યા. ભયંકરથી પણ ભયંકર એવા એક ગજેન્દ્રોથી પ્રભુ જરા પણ શોક પામ્યા નહીં. તેથી તેઓ લજ્જા પામ્યા હોય તેમ તત્કાળ નાસીને ક્યાંક ચાલ્યા ગયા. So he generates this very frightening lions and then elephants. પછી હિકારનાથથી દિશાઓને પૂર્ણ કરતા અને દયા વિનાના અનેક રીંછો. So here it says he also creates a lot of huge bears. યમરાજની સેના જેવા ક્રૂર અનેક ચિત્તાઓ. So he creates many chittas. કંટકના અગ્રભાગથી શિલાઓને પણ ફોડનારા વીંછીઓ. And he generates lots of scorpions. અને દ્રષ્ટિથી વૃક્ષોને પણ બાળી નાખે તેવા દ્રષ્ટિવિશ સર્પો વિખોર્યા. Scorpions and then snakes. તેઓ સર્વે ઉપદ્રવ કરવાની ઈચ્છાથી પ્રભુ પાસે આવ્યા. તથાપિ સરિતાઓથી સમુદ્રની જેમ પ્રભુ ધ્યાનથી ચલિત થયા નહીં. So he creates all this to trouble Bhagwan Parshvanath and inflict a huge amount of pain. પછી વિદ્યુત સહિત મેઘની જેમ હાથમાં કર્તિકા શસ્ત્રને રાખનારા ઊંચી દાઢોવાળા અને કિલકિલ શબ્દ કરતા વૈતાળો. So he creates monsters. વિકુર્યા એની ઉપર સર્પ લટકતા હોય તેવા વૃક્ષોની જેમ લાંબી જીવવા અને શિશ્નવાળા. અને દીર્ઘ જંગા તથા ચરણથી તાળ વૃક્ષ પર આરૂઢ થયા હોય તેમ લાગતા, તેમજ જાણે જઠરાગ્નિ હોય એવા મુખમાંથી જ્વાળા કાઢતા તે વૈતાળો હાથી પર શ્વાન દોડે તેમ પ્રભુ ઉપર દોડી આવ્યા. So they attack Bhagwan Parshvanath, all these monsters. પરંતુ ધ્યાનરૂપ અમૃતના દ્રહમાં લીન થયેલા પ્રભુ તેમનાથી પણ જણાપસકો પામ્યો નહીં. So Bhagwan Parshvanath does not lose his dhyan. He is completely calm and completely ignores and doesn't let any of this aggressive punishment that Meghmali is giving him disturb him at all. તેથી દિવસે ઘુવડ પક્ષીની જેમ તેઓ નાસીને ક્યાંય ચાલી ગયા. પ્રભુની આવી દ્રઢતા જોઈ મેઘમાળી અસુરનોએ ઉલટા વિશેષ ક્રોધ ચડ્યો. Because Bhagavan Parshvanath is not reacting at all and seems to be just as calm as before he started all this, Meghmali gets more and more angry. And as a last resort, Meghmali, it says, કાળ રાત્રિના સહોદર જેવા ભયંકર મેઘ આકાશમાં વિખુર્યો. મેઘ is rain. એ વખતે આકાશમાં કાળ જીવવા જેવી ભયંકર વિદ્યુત થવા લાગી. So he creates extremely violent rain with violent lightning. બ્રહ્માંડને ફોડે તેવી મેઘ ગર્જના દિશાઓમાં વ્યાપી ગઈ. So it's an extremely noisy and massive rainfall with lightning. અને નેત્રના વ્યાપારને હરણ કહેવાય તેવું ઘોર અંધકાર છવાઈ ગયું. The place becomes extremely dark. ત્યાંથી અંતરિક્ષ અને પૃથ્વી જાણે એકત્ર પરોવાઈ ગયા હોય તેમ થઈ ગયા. And it's as if the sky and the earth have merged together in this darkness. પછી આ મારા પૂર્વ વૈરીને હું સંહાર કરી નાખું. And he starts thinking that I want to kill this object of my hatred for so many lives. એવી દુર્બુદ્ધિથી મેઘમાળીએ કલ્પાંતકાળના મેઘની જેમ વરસવા માંડ્યો. And he loses all control and creates rain that falls like a deluge. મુશળ અથવા બાણ જેવી ધારાઓથી જાણે પૃથ્વીને કોદાવડી વડે ખોદતા હોય તેમાં તાડન કરવા लाग्यो. And the rain is so heavy and so sharp that it begins to dig the land around it, and it looks like as if somebody is actually digging up the earth around where Bhagwan was. તેના પ્રહારથી પક્ષીઓ ઉછળીને ઉછળીને પડવા લાગ્યા. A lot of birds jump up and die around there. તેમજ વરાહ અને મહેશ વગેરે પશુઓ આમ તેમ નાસભાગ કરવા લાગ્યા. Because this is a deep forest, all the animals who are experiencing this also get terrified and start running around everywhere. અતિ વેગ વડે ભયંકર એવા જળ પ્રવાહો અનેક પ્રાણીઓને ખેંચી જવા લાગ્યા. Because the rain is so torrential, it creates a flood and a lot of animals get sucked into that and get pulled into the flood. અને મોટા મોટા વૃક્ષોને પણ મૂળમાંથી ઉન્મૂલન કરવા लाग्या. So a lot of trees with very large trees get uprooted by this torrential rain. શ્રી પાર્શ્વનાથ પ્રભુને ક્ષણવારમાં તો તે જળ ઘૂંટણ સુધી આવ્યું. And the rain very soon climbs up to his knees. ક્ષણવારમાં જાનુ સુધી પહોંચ્યું. ક્ષણવાર કટી સુધી ગયું and ક્ષણમાં તો કંઠ સુધી આવી ગયું. And within a short while it comes up to his neck. મેઘમાળી દેવે જ્યારે જળ બધે પ્રસરાવ્યું ત્યારે પદ્મદ્રહમાં લક્ષ્મીના સ્થાન રૂપે મહાપદ્મની જેમ પ્રભુ તે જળમાં શોભવા लाग्યા. રત્નશિલાના સ્તંભની જેમ તે જળમાં પણ નિશ્ચળ રહેલા પ્રભુ નાસિકાના અગ્ર ભાગ પર દ્રષ્ટિ રાખી રહ્યા. Bhagwan Parshvanath is still very calm and he's completely focused on his dhyan and his eyes are focused on the tip of his nose, as is routine during dhyan. જરા પણ ચલિત થયા નહીં. છેવટે એ જળ પાર્શ્વનાથની નાસિકાના અગ્રભાગ સુધી આવ્યું. The rain then finally arrives at his nostril that would make it impossible for him to breathe. તે વખતે અવધિ જ્ઞાનથી, at that moment, ધરણેન્દ્ર, the Indra of Nag Devlok, he sees in his Avdignan what is happening, and he realizes that પેલો બાળ તાપસ કમઠ મારા પ્રભુને વેરી માનીને ઉપદ્રવ કરે છે. He thinks of Bhagwan Parshvanath as his enemy, and he is inflicting so much pain and trouble to him. પછી તત્કાળ પોતાની મહિષીઓ સાથે નાગરાજ ધરણેન્દ્ર વેગથી મનની સાથે પણ સ્પર્ધા કરતો હોય તે ઉતાવળે પ્રભુની પાસે આવ્યો. And he very immediately comes to wherever he was, to the protection of Bhagwan Parshvanath. પ્રભુને નમીને he bows down to him. ધરણેન્દ્ર તેમના ચરણ નીચે કેવડીને આસન જેવું અને નીચે રહેલા લાંબા નાળાવાળું એક સુવર્ણ કમળ વિખુર્યું. So he creates a large kamal under Bhagwan Parshvanath's feet. With a very long stalk. પછી તે ભોગીરાજે પોતાની કાયાથી પ્રભુના પૃષ્ઠ અને બે પડખાને ઢાંકી દઈને 7 ફણા વડે પ્રભુને માથે છત્ર કર્યું. So with his, he creates a body like a snake, as we've seen this image many times before, and covers the head and the sides of Bhagwan Parshvanath's body with this umbrella, which is sort of encompasses his head and his sides. જળની ઊંચાઈ જેવડા લાંબા નાળાવાળું એક સુવર્ણ કમળ વિખુર્યું. પછી તે ભોગીરાજે પોતાની કાયાથી પ્રભુના પૃષ્ઠને લાંબા નાળા કમળની ઉપર સમાધિમાં લીન થઈને સુખે સ્થિત રહેલા પ્રભુ રાજહંસની જેમ દેખાવા લાગ્યા. ભક્તિભાવ યુક્ત ચિત્તવાળી ધર્મેન્દ્રની સ્ત્રીઓ પ્રભુની આગળ ગીત નૃત્ય કરવા લાગી. So they changed the whole atmosphere. Dharanendra's wives, his queens, begin a dance in celebration. વેણુ વીણાના તાર ધ્વનિ અને મૃદંગના ઉદત નાદ વિવિધ તાળને અનુસરતા વૃદ્ધિ પામવા લાગ્યા. So the whole atmosphere changes into a kind of dance celebration. અને વિચિત્ર ચારુ ચારિક વાળું હસ્તાદિકના અભિનયથી ઉજ્જવળ અને વિચિત્ર અંગહારથી રમણીક એવું નૃત્ય થવા લાગ્યું. એ વખતે ધ્યાનમાં લીન થયેલા પ્રભુ નાગાદિરાજ ધરણેન્દ્ર ઉપર અને અસુર મેઘમાળી ઉપર સમાન ભાવે રહેલા હતા. This is what we remember, and this is something that has been sung by everybody all the time, that what was the state of Bhagwan's feelings towards these two people. This is what we can see, what Meghmali has created here, and what Dharanendra has done to protect Bhagwan and Padmavati Devi in that kamal at the bottom.
He was indifferent in his feelings towards the Dharanendra.
Yeah. So what I want to explore once we finish this about what that indifference really means. And we remember that in the beginning of every class when we see the stuti of Bhagwan Parshvanath, Kamathe Dharanendra cha sochitam karma kurvati. Kamathan Dharanendra, with their individual mindsets and their individual desires, they do what they see fit. Prabhu's thulya manovrutti, Parshvanath Sriyastuha. As far as Bhagwan Parshvanath is concerned, his reaction to both is equal. One who is very worshipful and full of gratitude. He sees him the same way as Kamat, who is full of hatred, who is doing his utmost to try and destroy Bhagwan Parshvanath and has left no stone unturned to fulfill his hatred of Bhagwan Parshvanath. So here it says Dharanendra and Padmavati Devi, whom Prince Parsha Kumar in their previous birth had saved from the log of wood burning in Kamat's Panchangani Havan, got to know through their clairvoyance that the Lord was being harassed. They had a lot of love and affection towards Lord Parshvanath. Dharanendra Dev and Padmavati Devi with lightning speed rushed to the Lord. Padmavati Devi turned into a lotus and lifted the Lord up from beneath Dharanendra Dev. The Serpent King provided shelter by making an umbrella of his own 7 hoods over the head of the Lord, getting the protection from both the top as well as the bottom. The Lord remained unaffected by Kamat's harassment. એ વખતે ધ્યાનથી લીન થયેલા પ્રભુ નાગાદીરા ધરેન્દ્ર ઉપર અને અસુર મેઘમાળી ઉપર સમાન ભાવે રહેલા હતા. તેમ છતાં પણ કોપથી વરસતા એવા મેઘમાળીને જોઈ નાગરાજ ધરણેન્દ્ર કોપ કરી આક્ષેપથી બોલ્યો. ધરણેન્દ્ર, because of his devotion, cannot remain quiet. And he gets very angry towards Meghmali and tells him, Are Durmati, પોતાના અનર્થને માટે તું આ શું આરંભી બેઠો છે? For your own destruction, what have you started? હું એ મહાકૃપાળુનું શિષ્ય છું, તથાપि હવે હું સહન કરીશ નહીં. I am a devotee of Bhagwan Parshvanath and I will not tolerate what you are doing anymore. તે વખતે આ પ્રભુએ કાષ્ટમાંથી બળતા સર્પને બતાવીને તેને ઉલટો પાપ કરતા અટકાવ્યો હતો. So Dharanendra reminds him that in that previous life as Kamat, Bhagwan Parshvanath saved you from committing a very bad sin and protected those snakes from the log that you were using for your fires. તેથી તેમણે તારો શો અપરાધ કર્યો? And he actually saved you from committing a terrible sinful act. અરે મૂઢ, ખારી જમીનમાં પડતું મેઘનું જળ પણ જેમ લવણને માટે થાય છે, કે just like when rain falls on a salty earth, even that rain becomes useless. તેમ પ્રભુનો સદુપદેશ પણ તારા વૈરને માટે થયો છે. And Bhagwan gave you good updesh, but for you who does not have the virtues that would generate further virtues, who does not have, you are like salty earth that no matter how much water you put on it, it will never change. It will in fact spoil the water. So whatever you have started, એ હવે દૂર કરી દે, નહીં તો હવે તું રહી શકીશ નહીં. So you better undo whatever you've done, because if you don't, then I'm not going to let you free and I'm going to punish you. ધરણેન્દ્રના આવા વચન સાંભળીને મેઘમાળીએ નીચી દ્રષ્ટિ કરીને જોયું તો નાગેન્દ્ર સેવિત એવા પાર્શ્વનાથ પ્રભુને દીઠા. તેથી તેણે ચિંતવ્યું કે ચક્રવર્તીની ઉપર તેને ઉપદ્રવ કરનારા મલેચ્છોના આરાધેલા મેઘકુમારોની શક્તિ જેમ વૃથા થાય, તેમાં પાર્શ્વનાથની ઉપર મેં મારી જેટલી હતી તેટલી શક્તિ વાપરી તો પણ તે વૃથા થઈ છે. So no matter how hard I tried, I do not have the power to harm Bhagwan Parshvanath. આ પ્રભુ એક મુષ્ટિથી પર્વતને પણ ચૂર્ણ કરવાને સમર્થ છે. He now recognizes that Bhagavan Parshvanath has the power to have crushed him if he so wanted. તથાપિ આ કરુણાનિધિ, but he is very compassionate હોવાથી મને ભસ્મ કરતા નથી. And he has not tried to hurt me at all. પણ આ ધર્મેન્દ્રથી મને ભય લાગે છે. So I am not afraid of Bhagavan Parshvanath, but I am afraid of Dharanendra. આ ત્રૈલોક્ય પતિના ઉપકાર કરીને ત્રૈલોક્યમાં પણ મારી સ્થિતિ થઈ શકશે નહીં. So no matter how far I try to run, he is not going to let me live in peace. તો પછી હું કોને શરણે જઈશ? Therefore, who will save me if I don't do as Dharanendra is telling me? માટે જો આ પ્રભુનું શરણ મળે તો જ હું ઉગરી શકીશ. So if I get the benefit of the feet of Bhagavan Parshvanath, only then will I be safe. ને મારું હિત થશે. આ પ્રમાણે વિચાર કરીને તત્કાળ મેઘ મંડળને સરી લઈ ભય પામતો મેઘમાણી પ્રભુની પાસે આવ્યો અને નમસ્કાર કરીને બોલ્યો. So he now realizes that his welfare lies in coming to the feet of Bhagavan Parshvanath. હે પ્રભુ, જો તમે આ અપકારી જન ઉપર પણ ક્રોધ કરતા નથી, તથાપિ હું મારા પોતાના દુષ્કર્મથી દૂષિત થયેલો હોવાથી ભય પામું છું. આવું દુષ્કર્મ કરીને પણ હું નિર્લજ્જ થઈ તમારી પાસે યાચના કરવા આવ્યો છું. Say, I am extremely sorry and I am come to ask you for a favor. માટે હે જગન્નાથ, દુર્ગતિમાં પડવાથી શંકા પામેલા આ દિન જનની રક્ષા કરો. પ્લીઝ પ્રોટેક્ટ મી. રક્ષા કરો. આ પ્રમાણે કહીને પ્રભુને ખમાવી નમસ્કાર કરીને So he bows down to him, he asks for forgiveness, and he feels very sad about what he has done. He recognizes the all the hatred that he had unleashed, and he feels shameful that he has done this. પોતાને સ્થાને ગયો, and then he goes to his place. પ્રભુને ઉપસર્ગ રહી થયેલા જાણે સ્તુતિ અને પ્રણામ કરીને નાગરાજ ધરણેન્દ્ર પોતાને સ્થાને ગયું. And now that Bhagavan Parshvanath is safe and without any difficulty, Dharanendra and all the people, all the devis, devs who had come with him also leave. And the night soon ends and the morning dawns. That is the end of today's lesson. As Sheila-Ben was explaining, when Dharanendra Dev and Padma Devi gave protection to the Lord, and on the other hand, Meghmali gave tremendous harassment to him, yet to the Lord neither an iota of hatred or abhorrence happened towards Meghmali, nor an iota of attachment or liking happened towards Dharanendra and Padmavati Devi, Dharanendra Devi and Padmavati Devi. The Lord was completely free from attachment and hatred, and simultaneously one got to see the Lord's state of absolute detachment. And switch on your videos if you want. So two particular things to explore very quickly. Every Tirthankar Bhagwan in the year before Diksha begins to teach the whole world that everything that you are attached to, which is of material origin, no matter how valuable it is something that is not going to come with you. Use it to help others. Give it away. And he sets that example, practicing it on a daily basis from morning till evening, and giving away everything. So every Tirthankar Paramatma actually does this. And that is part of the natural laws or rules that exist before the establishment of a Tirth. The other question about Bhagwan Parshvanath's detachment, it is so absolute that an ill feeling or a feeling of pride that somebody goes out of their way so much to help, and recognizing that that means the amount of respect that I actually command. So feeling proud, so there is no pride and there is no dislike towards the one who is punishing and acting extremely badly. And that level of detachment is absolute. For us to try and understand and experience even a bit of something like that is worth some regular practice in daily life. So if we can begin to understand that level of detachment, that level of vitragata, that everything that goes on around me that I am subjected to is as a result of past karmas, but none of that actually makes any difference to my permanent self, that is the soul. And no matter what anybody else is unleashing, whether it is praise or bad words or hatred, it should be the same to me. Now, beginning to practice some of this would actually allow us to understand what vitragata is without any attachment or hatred. Anybody wants to add anything else? Are there any questions?
Got a couple of questions, but only one is related to today's topic.
Mm-hmm.
You covered that Parshvanath Bhagwan had Avdignan.
Mm-hmm.
Does it incorporate the Manparyognan within?
No, it doesn't. Avdignan is about the knowledge of Rupi Padarth, meaning all that is visible within a certain radius. Manparyognan is the ability to pick up thoughts that are going on in any Sangani Panchendriya's mind. They're two different things. So Avdignan doesn't incorporate that. Manparyognan develops at the time of Diksha. Avdignan is what every Tirthankar Paramatma is born with. Just like all Devs and Narak are born with, all those in Narak and all those in Devlok are born with Avdignan. And Avdignan can develop for other people to different degrees, and there are many examples of that. And in Bhagwan Parshvanath's life story, we also there is a story about an elephant called Sechnak in the narrative of what the events around Bhagwan Mahavir's life, who is a particularly gifted elephant. who actually had a level of Bhautik Jnana.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I had another one, but it's not related to today's topic.
Yeah, don't worry. Go on.
I mean, I find it strange. I mean, that, in currently, the 20 Tirthankars that are in Mahavidyashatra,
Yeah.
they all have the same Kalyanaks. But is it true that all of them have the same, the Kalyanaks are at the same time, all the Kalyanaks? Because
That's what I've heard as well.
if that's true, then I mean, I find because obviously getting Kevagnan at the same time, that would depend on how many karmas you have within that life. So would it be at the same? I mean,
It can be. I mean, it is something that has been written about. I mean, Bharatbhai might know a bit more about this. I've heard of this, but it's not surprising. I mean, and I understand your difficulty that this would be an extremely unusual kind of coincidence, but the fact is that it is described in the text and that all happened at the same time. And I mean, in universal terms, where there's so many things that are happening which are very unusual,
yes.
I don't particularly find this difficult to accept, but I don't know the explanation for it.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like Mahavir Bhagwan's, Kevagnan. It took a long time, 12.5 years before he got, and Neminath, he got it very quickly.
Yeah.
Bhagwan. So, it's
Bhagwan Malinath on the same day.
Maninath, yeah, same day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thinking about these 20 Tirthankars getting it at the same time, I mean, it's a bit, yeah.
It can happen. It's not, I mean, the process of spiritual elevation and climbing up the ladder of the 14 gunasthans can be an extremely fast process. And that can happen in a very short while. So, I mean, I don't know, Bharatbhai, do you have anything to add to this? I mean, I accept it. I don't know the explanation for it too.
This might be the 11th unusual thing that happened in this.
I'm not sure. I don't think it's described as such, but Bharatbhai, any?
Pranam Ajitbhai.
Pranam.
It is true that all the five Kalyanaks of all the Viharman Tirthankars are at the same time. It is not. It is. This is an ongoing thing. It's not. One must remember that these Viharman Tirthankars are not born in Bharat or Airavat Kshetras. They are born in Mahavidyashatra. So once when they finish, when they get moksha, the next set of Viyarma Tirthankars are also ready. I mean, they've also taken birth.
Yeah.
Birth prior to that, they've also taken their diksha is at the same time.
Yeah.
And their Kevagnan and their moksha is all at the same time. This is not. You must remember there are two different geographical and entities, like they are the Viharman Tirthankars born in Mahavidya Kshetra,
Mahavidya Kshetra. And then these
as
are,
opposed to
yeah,
Bharat and Airav
Erod.
Kshetra.
And these lands are huge
It
lands,
it
and
will always happen. There's always each set of Viharman Tirthankars go through the same cycle. So there is no. I mean, that is an accepted truth.
and during the course of, say, this Chuvisi, meaning our particular Ausarpini card of the length of 10 Koda Kodi Sagrupam, in this Bharat Kshetra we've had 24 Tirthankars, but in that time period, the number of Tirthankars that have been born in total would be extremely large. I don't know the number, but it would be in that Das Koda Kodi Sagarupam. So it is also said that during the last life of Bhagwan Parshvanath as Devlok, before he became Bhagwan Parshvanath, he had attended about 500 kalyanas. One can extrapolate from that that must have been about 500, about 100 Tirthankar Paramatmas born and gone through the different Kalyanaks in that time. So the process of Tirthankar Paramatmas being born in all these different lands. Now at the moment, there are 20 who are already have set up a tirth in there. So as Bharat Bhai says, I don't know if there are other Tirthankars who are already born but have not yet taken Diksha or become started a tirth. So there may be others as well. And one mustn't forget that these are 20 Tirthankar Paramatmas in 20 of the 160 Vijayas where Tirthankar Paramatma can be born. So that means there are still another 140 Vijayas where there could be a Tirthankar Paramatma, because each Mahavidya Kshetra has 32 Vijayas, and each Vijay is like an independent world.
So is the law of karma different? I mean, slightly different.
No,
Happens at the same time.
No. I mean, the
No.
rate at which karmas get destroyed varies from individual to individual. I mean, okay, we talk about Bhagwan Mahavir's penance time of 12.5 years, but we also know that somebody like Bharat Chakravarti got Keval Gnan before he became a monk. Somebody like Ilachi Kumar got Keval Gnan dancing on a rope. And there are many other examples. So how quickly somebody's karma actually disappears depends a lot on their sadhana, what kind of karma there was, their sadhana from previous lives. So there are all kinds of variations in that. So I think
Yes, I understand that, but it's just that all happening at the same time.
Yeah.
That is a miracle, really, because like Bharat Bhai said, it's in a different, it's in Mahavidya Kshetra, but it might be. I mean, like the next set, he said that that might be at the same time as well, the 4 or 5 kalyanaks. So the laws of karma might be working slightly different in those times because
those work in the same way, but the fact that we can't get our head around such miraculous happenings, I think that just tells us about the limitations of our imagination and our acceptance of what can happen. So nothing is unusual and the laws don't change, Sandeep.
thank you.
Okay, right. Bharat Bhai, do you have another view on that?
No, and the question of whether they are born or not, I'm not sure whether they are. But when they are born, they all take birth in the last birth, together, and all the 5 cycles. I mean, the Panch Kalyanaks, they are all at the same time. But this is a perpetual cycle which goes on. It doesn't stop anywhere. I mean, as you said earlier, that the number of Viharman Tirthankars can vary from the minimum is 20, maximum is 160, plus the 5 in Eravat and 5 in Bharat. So the total number of the Tirthankars in one cycle is the maximum is 170.
In one cycle of our Bharat in relation to Bharat and Airavat Kshetra.
Yeah.
But in relation to Mavideh Kshetra,
that's separate.
That's separate, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
એક ક્વેશ્ચન કરું?
હા, બોલો.
પ્રણામ. એટલે તો પછી જે મહાવિદ્ય ક્ષેત્રના બધા તીર્થંકરની આપણે કહીએ કે ઓકે 5 કલ્યાણક તિથિ સેમ હશે, પણ વર્ષ તો બધાના જુદા નહીં હોય કે બધા સાથે જ બોર્ન થાય ને સાથે જ ડેથ થાય?
આમાં તો
sorry, the answer to that is they all have the same Ayusha as well.
Yes, they have the same
so
Ayusha. And they're born on the same day.
સાથે બોર્ન થાય એવું નહીં હોય ને. લાઈક સમજો કે 1 જાન્યુઆરી કોઈનો જન્મદિવસ હોય તો maybe 1965 or 2001 or એવું ના હોય?
In this instance, I think Bharatbhai, it's quoted that they were all born on the same day, one day.
Oh, okay.
They are. એ લોકોનું જે આયુષ્ય છે ને એ સરખું જ હોય. I think it's a very long આયુષ્ય. Like for the current જે અત્યારની 24 છે
275,000.
it's 84 લાખ પૂર્વ.
I was in impression કે જેમ એવી રીતે બધા જન્મ થતો જાય ને મૃત્યુ થતા જાય, પણ આયુષ્ય ભલે બધાનું સેમ હોય કે એવી રીતે તિથિ પણ સેમ હોય, પણ વર્ષ might be different. That was my thought. Okay.
I think we probably need to ask other experts, but what Bharatbhai and I understand. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharatbhai, and thank you, everybody. Jinagna viruddh kaim पण बोलियो ते समय मनुष्य काय करे तस्मिच्छामि विग्रहम्. If I have said anything that is against the teachings of our Tirthankar Paramatmas, Guru Bhagwans, and the religion, I ask for forgiveness. Sarvamangala Mangalam Swakalyan Karanam Pradhanam Sarvadharmanam Jainam Jeti Sasanam. Wishing you all a very peaceful and spiritual Paryushan festival, and hope to see some of you during the Paryushan events. I don't know many of you by face, so if you do see me, it would be nice to know who is attending the classes. So I know some of you, but I don't know all of you. So do let me know. Be nice to catch up. Okay. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Sarvana Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.
Thank you, Ajitbhai.
Thank you.
Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jai Jinendra. Thank you.